Before we enter the events of Good Friday, a bit about the Stations of the Cross. The street where Jesus walked is still called Via Dolorosa, the Way of Suffering. In later years, people would stop along the way and remember what had happened to Jesus. It's likely that they marked the places for those who came after them to follow as well. Some are based on biblical accounts, others, such as the encounter with Veronica, are from legend and other stories. As Christianity spread throughout the known world of that time, distance made it nearly impossible for people to make the trip to Jerusalem. But over time, the practice developed, and stations were placed at churches and monasteries and other places as well. The stations are a visual aid. You may well have some in your own place of worship, or have been to a cathedral or church that has them on the walls. They enable us to enter into what Jesus himself experienced, to walk and to stop. Perhaps that's one of the keys to life as a Christian, of our life with Christ. For this film, each station is a painting by Devon-based artist Richard Hammond. In each, the central figure in yellow is Christ, and those in grey are people he meets on the way. We'll also use several quotes from a booklet by Sister Christine Crecho called Stations of the Cross for Today's Disciples, in which she reflects on words that Jesus may have spoken. Like any journey we take, some of the stopping points will be brief, others will be longer, but do feel free to press the pause button at any point for your own time of silence, prayer and reflection. Imagine that you're in the crowd that Friday in Jerusalem. It's a busy day in the city. Many are just going about their normal business and probably didn't even notice. Now at the festival, the governor was accustomed to release a prisoner for the crowd, anyone whom they wanted. At that time, they had a notorious prisoner called Jesus Barabbas. So after they gathered, Pilate said to them, "Whom do you want me to release for you, Jesus Barabbas or Jesus who is called the Messiah?" Now, the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowds to ask for Barabbas and to have Jesus killed. The governor again said to them, "Which of these two do you want me to release for you?" And they said, "Barabbas." Pilate said to them, "Then what shall I do with Jesus who's called the Messiah?" And all of them said, "Let him be crucified." Then he asked, "Why, what evil has he done?" But they shouted all the more, "Let him be crucified." So he released Barabbas for them, and after flogging Jesus, he handed him over to be crucified. Jesus speaks. Mindful of the God alive in me, I tremble at Pilate's words. How did I come to this place of utter failure? I know that God is here present even at this awful moment of condemnation. I want to escape, but I know that's not possible. I weep for all who are sentenced to die. Jesus speaks. Life has tested me in many ways. I feel my strength being drained from me. I'm not sure I can continue. I know the pain of losing my friends. I mourn for those who know weakness and ill health, and the sadness of loneliness and old age. Too often people blame my God for their sufferings. They think that the God who loves them also sends them crosses to bear. They fail to see that my God, our God, is here with us, embracing us and helping us grow. Jesus speaks. I tried so hard to continue, but I couldn't go on. My heart is broken. I'd failed to convince people that God loved them. I understand when disappointment and frustration disturb your soul. I understand why you feel like quitting. But remember that you live and move in God. Whenever you feel defeated, I am with you. I will raise you up, and we will continue our journey together. Jesus speaks. I can barely look into the agonized eyes of my mother. I do not want her to see me this way. I know she desires to take my place. Loving and being loved brings suffering to both of us, yet we would not have it any other way. That's how I love you too. I am with you when you cry, when you are in pain, when you feel helpless. During his ministry, Jesus encouraged us to share one another's burdens. On the way to his death, Simon from Cyrene, in modern-day Libya, helped Jesus to carry the burden of the cross. Legend has it that a woman named Veronica wiped the sweat and blood from his face with her veil. As a reward for her kindness, the image of Jesus' face was left on the veil. Being beside someone on his or her journey, carrying the load or mopping their brow, is a simple yet love-filled, intimate act which can only bring us closer to Christ. As you carry your own burdens, you may like to press pause and pray for those who are like Simon and Veronica to you. Jesus speaks. As I fall again, I am tormented by my failure. Where did I go wrong? Why was I betrayed by one of my own? Will anyone remember what I tried to teach them? Jesus speaks. The men with whom I'd shared so much have abandoned me, but these women weep openly for me. Their caring and compassion confirm the truth that we are connected. Pain and sorrow are common bonds. I mourn for them as they long to see the day when we live as brothers and sisters. They have believed my message and realized the cost of being faithful to the truth. Jesus speaks. Soldiers are impatient with me as I fall again. It would be easier to lie here. It would be easier to quit. What good have I accomplished? But somehow I know I must go on. I struggle to stand, but I realize I am not alone. Whenever life tests you to the point of giving up, think of me. I will stay with you as you wrestle with doubt, despair, or hopelessness. Jesus speaks. Not only is the pain excruciating as they pull off my clothes, I am humiliated as the onlookers stare at my nakedness. Some mock me, others sneer, but these too are loved by my God. Will they ever understand? When your dignity is attacked, and when others try to shame you for your faith, do not worry about your reputation. When they came to the place that is called the Skull, they crucified Jesus there with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And the people stood by, watching. It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon, while the sun's light failed, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Then Jesus, crying with a loud voice, said, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." Having said this, he breathed his last.